Hello, welcome to Drummers and Dragons. I'm your humble host, Curtis Miller. Sometimes, when the weather doesn't cooperate, it isn't a good day to roll your Red Dragon portable drum set outside to play. Instead, since it snowed, I made an episode about an indoor project that is very quick, easy, and fun. I call this project the $5 snare drum. The $5 snare drum is an invention I made around 2 years ago. I wanted to create a snare drum that was durable, looked nice, sounded good, and above all, never needed tuning. After years and years of playing drums, I decided I hated the expense and hassle of tuning drums. Also, I realized it was possible to remove tuning from my life, and I am much happier for having done so. I highly recommend it. Is the $5 snare drum the greatest snare drum ever made? Yes. No, not really. However, I do believe it is an instrument that is useful for any drummer, either as a multi-use budget drum or as a drum accessory in a drummer's cymbal bag. For this project, you will need a Dollar Tree pizza pan, a permanent marker, a method of making holes. I choose a cordless drill, but if you don't have a cordless drill, poking holes with a hammer and nail works too. An attachment method. I prefer zip ties, but you can use whatever you have. 2 suggestions are wire or string. You could also bend up a paper clip, just whatever you have. Lastly, you will need a snare. I prefer 2 different types. One is the length of this type of chain from the hardware store. They sell it by the yard. I forget the name of this chain, but I like it because it lays flat. If you know what the chain is called, please comment below. Another snare I really like is a beaded chain. The thicker the better. Step 1. Prepare your snare. Okay, so after you lay out your design, make sure that you have enough room to mark all your holes and they won't go over the edge in this particular design. Some of them they do go over the edge. I'll show you that later. And try and make it so that your chains are not taut. They need to have a little give. Don't pull the snare tight, the chains tight. It needs to have a bit of give so it will rattle. Okay, step 2. Mark your holes with a permanent marker. One on each side of the chain end. So one inside the chain and one outside the chain. Very easy. Just take your time. There we go. Now I'm going to add a little handle because I've built these before, and I'll show you why before the video ends. Just a little wooden pull handle, but the screw tightens all the way up next to the wood, so it's perfect for this. And the next step, step 3, is to poke your holes where you mark them with your preferred method. I'll spare everyone that and be right back. Okay, the holes are drilled. No major mishaps. I recommend going very slowly because the drill will pop through suddenly and it's real easy to dent these pizza pans and deburr the holes as best you can. You don't have to. Everything is optional, but I recommend it. And kind of a better look. They're not perfect, but they don't need to be. Alright. Let's zip tie some chains. Well, that was easy and it only took a few minutes. All that's left to do is to trim the excess off of all of these zip ties. And just a tip in case you don't know already, the perfect thing for cutting the excess plastic is a pair of toenail clippers. Perfectly safe and perfect cut every time, right up to the nub, whatever it's called. Okay, well here's two next to each other, one with the flat chain and one with the beaded chains. And before I go over the multitudes of uses, just from tapping your fingers you can kind of hear already the snare quality. I wanted to also mention that if you save, I know that I destroyed that other label, but if you save the pizza pan label, you can use it as a template was the word I was searching for. You can use the pizza pan label as a template. You can put it on a drum head if you prefer a coated drum head. Trace it off, cut it out. Obviously, I wouldn't do this to a brand new drum head. Maybe an old used one that is no longer good for a traditional drum. You can also use sandpaper, but and then either or, but then you can glue it down under your chains and have your coated surface if you prefer that. Okay, moving on to the many uses. The Dollar Tree pizza pan has a ton of versatility, but it isn't your only option. However, this video is getting long, so let's remain focused on the versatility of the Dollar Tree pizza pan. Okay, well, first of all, the $5 snare drum fits nice and snug right inside 13-inch standard traditional drum rim, which is why I recommend the handle, although it's optional, but it makes for an easy on and off. And just like those master percussionists that you see dropping chains and splash cymbals and zills and everything else onto their tom-toms, well, you can do the same just grab it right out of your cymbal bag and throw it on there for some kind of drum solo performance or specialty song or what have you. So even drummers that rely on fancy equipment can also utilize the $5 snare drum. Oh, and you can make a handle if you don't have one of these. You can make a handle from just a piece of cord with a knot on each side, something like that, just for an easy pull handle. You don't have to, but I recommend it for this use. The $5 snare drum also fits normally inside an ordinary snare drum stand, snare drum bracket.
This one's kind of metal. It's a metal one. I mean, it doesn't get much more metal. It's made of metal. It's got a chain. It's black. Black is really metal. Can't get much more metal. Maybe if it had skulls all over it.
They also fit perfectly on top of a 5-gallon bucket and also a 5-gallon bucket lid. So if you're a bucket drummer or are curious about delving into bucket drumming, it's certainly going to increase your palette of sounds for bucket drumming as well. Well, speaking of 5-gallon bucket lids, here's one with a collapsible shelf from Daiso, and I've used it to make sort of a little snare stand for sitting on the floor, and great for low volume situations or even watching your favorite show on TV. And these Dollar Tree plastic bowls also are a perfect fit, slip right into the rim, and with that you can get a little bit of a deeper sort of tone. So those are two more options that are a lot of fun. These wire shelves also work great. This one is from Daiso, this one is from Dollar Tree. Either one fits perfectly. However, my Dollar Tree one, I've hung some jingle bells from it, so hadn't really planned on showing you that today. This little Daiso cutting board is also a perfect fit beneath the rim. See how it locks in there? So you can get you a little practice pad for your knee that way, which I'll show you. So you can experiment with all kinds of stands and get all kinds of different sounds from the same instrument. Very versatile. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you make one of these, and I hope you do because I think they're pretty cool, then think about giving me some credit. Maybe a shout out or a link. I'd appreciate that. So enjoy. Hopefully I'll see you again next time. Thank you.
What do you think, Burple?